Okay, I'm gonna be real. I have no idea how this is gonna go. I've been meaning to work on this, and I figured I might as well give myself an excuse to work on it. So I'm turning it into bad content instead. Uh, so, with that, hello everybody. This is Silicontent here. That music is a lot louder than I thought it would be. And welcome back to another stream. Today we're going to be doing some more mind-numbing staring at the screen and hoping something creative comes out of it. And we're going to be working on a Minecraft mod. I've done this before, a couple times, I want to say, mostly over on Twitch. But since I'm not doing anything on Twitch anymore, you get to see it over here instead. And so just to kind of give the rundown, I don't know if any of you saw the last Pain Pack stream that I did, but basically, I don't even know how long it's been at this point. I've been doing this for a while. Made this Minecraft Bedrock add-on that makes the game really hard, and it's got the nickname the Pain Pack, and I've been working on what I'm calling the final version of it. I initially started in making it for Bedrock Edition, and there's a stream of that, and it did not go well because Microsoft or Mojang, or whoever manages that piece of crap nowadays, changed a bunch of stuff about how, like, the game works or whatever. So I've just been having to... I couldn't really port anything over from the older versions of the pack because they just stopped working. So instead, I've been remaking the entire thing in Java Edition as like an actual mod. So that's kind of what I'm going to be working on today, at least for a little bit. I don't know how long this is going to go for. So I'll go ahead and just show you what I've been doing at this point, just so you can kind of get an idea for it. As you can see, I have my OBS on the second monitor. But this is kind of what we're working with right now. I'll go ahead and boot it up. And then I also have another thing that I would like to show eventually. This is kind of the big point of today's stream, is to nail all this stuff down. And it is like the plan document, because all of the other versions of the Pain Pack were just kind of thrown together it was mainly me and Connor. If you've been to, you know who Connor is, Bunnyboing21. But me and him just have been kind of the two big ones throwing out ideas and putting stuff together. But I'll go ahead and show you kind of what I have going so far. Just so you can get an idea as to what's going on. So no, do not want that. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit bigger so it's easier for you to see. If you want to see kind of development on the older version of the Pain Pack, or if you just want to see the older version of the Pain Pack in general, I have streams of us playing the old version of the Pain Pack right here on YouTube. You can check the live streams playlist. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description of this VOD, so on the off chance that anyone watches this later, they can check that out. Or there's the Twitch VOD of me working on the old version of the Pain Pack, where I figured out that nothing is working and I almost tore my hair out for an hour. You can go check that one out as well if you want to. Let's see, what was I doing? Yes, I was telling you a thing. I typically don't do... At least I've kind of stopped doing these kinds of, like, programming streams and editing streams. One, because no one watches them, because why would you? And secondly, because I'm so bad at, like, keeping on track and explaining myself when I'm working on something. And my skills are already terrible, but when I start trying to do something on stream, my, like, cognitive abilities drop by about 75%. So before that happens, I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly demonstrate everything that I've got added to the game so far. The way that this is working right now is by kind of porting everything from the previous version of the pack, the 5th version we're up to at this point. And if you want to see any of the source code for this mod, I have it up on GitHub. There's links in the description to both this mod that I'm working on, its source code, as well as the older versions of the Bedrock pack. You can still play them, but they really don't work as intended anymore. But I guess if you want to, you can always take a look at that, or, you know, upgrade it yourself. I don't really care if you're a master programmer who knows how to do all the scripting bull crap that Microsoft... I hate it. Anyways, pack time. So, the first thing I'm going to kind of go over is a bunch of the custom items that have been added. So far, I believe I've ported over all of the custom items. At the very least, they exist. They might not have the right functionality, but they do exist. And that's kind of what this big list of stuff is, looking at the code itself. But, and I'm sure YouTube compression is probably destroying this, but that's besides the point. Can I zoom this in, actually? I think I can, right? Like if I go to settings, just so you can kind of see it a little bit better. See here, font. Yeah, let's go and bump that up to like 18. How's that look? It's a little big, maybe 16. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Honestly, I really don't notice a difference, but still. So, anyways, custom items added to the game. So, everything that I added to the game is in its own tab. I don't believe I have anything that isn't. This is being developed in Fabric. Minecraft version 1.20.1, as you can kind of see up there. But if I pop over here really fast, you can see kind of all the custom stuff that I've added so far. We have this entire new type of wood that I've ported over from the 5th version. This is the living log. I also don't remember if I've talked about any of this stuff before, but I'm gonna do it again if I have. So we have all these different types of living wood. I believe in the original pack there was only just the log, and it got used for something, if anything. That's a whole nother topic of discussion. But this time, more so as a test for myself to see if I could add all of this stuff, I added an entire like set of planks and whatnot, and I believe they all work correctly. It's like I can punch this with my fist and turn it into sticks. Yeah. So, basically just another wood. And all this stuff works as well. It's got that nice programmer art aesthetic of stealing textures made by someone else and then covering them in garbage. The next thing is this Hellfire ore here, which is also ugly as hell, but I can't draw, so 'tis to be expected. This can be used and put into a furnace, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've ported over some of this stuff. This is a project that I've worked on and off. But yeah, you should be able to... You can't. Never mind. So we're not going to worry about that for now. But you will be able to take this and smelt it down into this stuff right here. But you can't right now. We have all these different blocks, which are just compacted forms of these 4 ingots here. I'll talk about these in a second. We have a reinforced stick, which is used for, like, better tier weapons, basically. At least that's what it was used for in the 5th version of the pack. This is going to be the 6th version. Right now it doesn't do anything, but it's just that well. Withered bones, they got used as well, just as like a crafting ingredient. This is another drop from wither skeletons. But right now they don't do anything. Obsidian fragments, I believe these do actually, you can use these right now. These, I believe, can be used to craft obsidian. Yep. I don't, honest to God, recall the importance of these. I believe they were used in an obsidian armor or an obsidian weapon that existed. But I've just, like I said, I'm porting over everything, and then I'll go through and tweak things or get rid of things that I don't want later. This is the Ultim Eye. It was originally just used as like a crafting ingredient. But the plan is to, as you can see by this tooltip, it peers through the world to find hidden locations, is to use this to find a structure to further progression. And I'll talk about all that once I get into game progression. The next things we have here are the 6 essences. These are Um, this sprite is ripped straight from Terraria, as you'll see with a couple of these other sprites. And these are, they all have their own cool little mysterious tooltip or whatever. These were used for making totems, which were custom items I had that were like basically crappier versions of potions before you could craft potions through the brewing stand. But I have a different idea for them in this new version of the pack, so those totems got removed. I don't have them anymore. I think even I got rid of the textures. But yeah, these are all, you have and they're all kind of opposites of each other. You have life and death, fire and water, the Fire Nation attack, and peace and pain. And like I said, once I kind of start talking about the progression idea that I have, we can kind of dissect what all that means later. Hellfire Chunk, like I said, comes from the ore, and then we have Meteor Ingots, Hellfire Ingots, which is just from this. Terminite Ingots, which is a type of ore or metal, whatever, that you find in the end after you defeat the Ender Dragon. Skulkin Ingots, as the name might imply, is what you get after defeating the Warden, which we'll get there. And then finally, Demonite is kind of your highest tier of ore, metal, whatever. So that's kind of all the items that were added. These are all kind of used to make different things that all contribute towards regression, and all of these are subject to change. I'll probably get rid of some of these things that don't really fit anymore, or I'll add stuff, yada yada yada. Anyways, on to this tab, which has all of the like custom melee weapons that got added. You can kind of see them outlined here on this wall. This wall is here this is me planning out progression again. But we have the Fistful of Dirt. Once again, all of these, I want to add flavor text to them because I'm basically just making Terraria and Minecraft at this point. That's what this mod is. So you have this first bit, which is the Fistful of Soil. It's not great. You can do a bit more damage. The Flint Dagger, just this idea was taken straight out of RL Craft, which I haven't actually done a full playthrough of. I should probably do that at some point. But anyways, Flint Dagger, and then we have the Copper Dagger, which this tooltip should tell you everything you need to know. I don't want to talk about it, so we're not going to talk about it all that much. It's a tiny little copper dagger, tiny little copper sword. There used to be a copper, like an actual copper sword, but that got removed in an earlier version. And I just want everyone to note that I added this before Mojang added theirs, so I'm just saying I'm better than Mojang, I would say. Don't tell them that though. We have the Meteor Shard, which is made from these Meteor Ingots. It's okay. Then the Frostbite, which I don't remember where half of these textures came from. I've tried to kind of... Good timing for this song. I've been trying to credit where all of these come from, but some of the older textures don't have credits because I pulled them from somewhere, never wrote down where I got them from, and now I can't find them again. So I've tried my best to document where all this stuff comes from, because a lot of these, especially the textures that look good, the textures that look good, I probably did not draw. But anyways, next up after the Frostbite, which I believe freezes things, but we'll get into that later, is the Obsidian Sword. This was an earlier edition, but it has a nicer looking texture now, although this like extra pink pixel over here, which you can't see, but that pixel's gonna bother me. Let me see, just while I'm talking, let me go ahead and just show you the full screen. But yeah, no, this pixel over here is gonna bother me. Then we have the Piglin War Axe. This is kind of what I want to use as a weapon that piglins themselves use and hold. Maybe just like piglin brutes can use it. I thought I added it so that it can be used as an actual axe, but I think I tested that earlier and it didn't work. let me try really fast. Let me see. If I get some oak logs out, I place this down. Can I? That doesn't seem faster than breaking it with my fist. Yeah, no. Okay. Well, that's a bug that we can fix. I should probably add that to the Trello board. Let me get that added over here. Oh well. What else we got? There's a couple more items still. The Inferno. This is kind of the sword that gets made out of the Hellfire stuff. You see, if you watch us play the Pain Pack on stream, this is kind of the big one that we always try and go for. Then we have the Deity's Blade, which I genuinely don't ever remember us using, but maybe my memory is just bad. This is a part of progression that I really want to work on, but we'll get into that later. Then we have the Undersword. This is crafted with that Ultima Eye, if I remember correctly. And I think the plan is to make it so that you can teleport around with this thing. Then we have the Terminus, very badass name for a not so badass item, made from Terminite ingots. This is kind of your post-Ender Dragon sword. The Deep Slash is another one. Anyways, the Deep Slash, obviously made from the Skulkin stuff here, post-Warden. And then finally we have this, it's pronounced Teufel. I'm probably butchering that because it's a German word that basically means Satan, which is actually the namesake for the entire pack. So this is made out of Demonite ingots. As you can see, it has the very fun ID of Teufel : Teufel, because that's the mod ID. But other than that, after this one, we just have to... I consider them dev items because you can craft them, but they really don't add anything because you make them after you quote-unquote beat the game. We have the Ultimate Hoe, which of course does a very funny amount of damage, and hose. But then we also have the later edition, the Copper Injection. The reason this is copper is because inside jokes are funny, and I will not be explaining them at this time. But just know that it's the exact same as the Ultimate Hoe, but you can't hoe. Sorry. But yeah, so that's kind of all of the custom stuff, like items and blocks added to this mod as of now. The next things are kind of mob behaviors. This pack initially started by me messing around with like behavior pack JSON files and seeing if I can make like pigs hurt you or whatever, and it kind of went from there. And so of course everything in this mod wants to kill you, so we'll go ahead and start with this cow here, because this is kind of one of the few that I have added so far, and we'll get there. So yeah, assuming, yep, here he is. He's a little slow. I think that's because he was spawned before I made all of the additions. Let me spawn in a new cow. Get the hell away. Okay, yep. So the cow is kind of annoying because it's kind of slow. It really doesn't do any damage, as you can see, but it gives you nausea. So it's an absolute nuisance to deal with. There are other enemies in this pack that do actual damage. I'm gonna throw up. God. There are other enemies in this pack that do more damage, like the pig. I know that in the original version of the pack, he did a decent amount of damage. I'm gonna spawn this like 5 blocks away from me. No, whoops. He can stay there. I don't... Okay, yep. So the pig is one of the other ones that I've added stuff to. He's dead now. But as you can see, if I let him hit me, he does a lot more damage. Oh my god. I forgot how much damage that did. Quick, I need the ejection. Okay. We gotta put him down. Where is he? we gotta put this one down. He's not safe. Oh, okay. But anyways. Cow. Okay. And as you can see, the cow also drops steak. That's one of those loot table changes that I still need to port over fully. But obviously that's something we can work on today. But as you can see, changes to mobs, all that kind of fun stuff. I think the only other thing I've done so far is, yes, make it so that zombies do not burn in daylight. And I might have also buffed a little bit, but that's besides the point. So yeah, that's kind of where we're sitting right now in terms of changes. The only other ones that I can think of are if you go underwater, you immediately start drowning. So that's fun, and if you go into lava, you immediately die. So that's pretty cool. Not to mention all the other kind of vanilla text that was changed. But that's kind of where the pack stands at the moment. There's not really much else to talk about that hasn't been that has been added to this port. But that kind of leads me into my next point, which is progression. So as you can see, I've been running around this thing the entire time. This is kind of where I started thinking of progression. And kind of charting out all the different like weapons that you'd be using during that progression, all the different quote-unquote stages of progression that you have, and that's kind of what is all in here. But I also have a Google Doc for this. Yay! The almighty Google document. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out of the game, and I'm gonna shift over to that Google document. I know this is gonna be real interesting. Hold on to your hats. But yeah, so this is kind of what I wanted to work on today, really. Was this because this is a frustrating part, and goes to show that I don't know how to do game design. All of the other packs before this have just been kind of thrown together, just kind of put together bit by bit, and are all kind of their own sort of disaster. But this is me trying to kind of clean that up so that I have a definitive version of this pack that's decently fun to play. So that's the point of this progression plan. So I'll just kind of, once again, talk through what I have so far, and then I'll get on to what I'm actually doing. So as you can see, this is kind of the intended progression for the pain pack, as I'm gonna keep calling it. I mean, you don't have to follow this progression, and I don't really intend you to, but this is just kind of how I'm planning out this progression so that I have some kind of baseline for how to, you know, set up the amount of damage that weapons do, and how much health mobs have, and what kinds of items you can access at certain times, and all that fun stuff that no one wants to think about, but someone has to do. Ugh. So, that's what we're going to be doing today. So, this is all kind of stuff copied over from a different document, but if I scroll down here, you can see all of the different stages that I have kind of planned, all with lovely little flavor text descriptions that don't actually mean anything, but kind of outline my idea for these stages. So, you know, when you start the game, and this is all from the perspective of someone like playing the pack for the first time, not really knowing what they're getting themselves into, which is a far cry from like me and some of the other guys who have been like the sole beta testers of these packs for who knows how long at this point. So, you know, you start with spawning in for the first time, trying to get resources, realizing that everything wants to kill you, and trying to avoid everything that wants to kill you, and making basic tools out of like wood and maybe stone and whatnot. All that kind of basic Minecrafty stuff, just with a lot more danger, probably a lot more of staring at the "you died" screen. Stage 2 here, early spelunking, is just, you know, going down into the caves for the first time and dealing with some of the stuff down there, fighting all the new monsters that you see, getting some better loot like iron and gold and stuff like that, and coming out and hopefully being able to survive a little bit better now that you have stuff like iron tools and maybe some copper stuff and whatnot. And then the next idea is that once you've kind of gone down underground and maybe go back a couple times, you can start exploring on the surface a little more and finding, more structures and, maybe even going underwater. Maybe you unlock access to like some kind of water breathing, which we'll get there. Just those kinds of things. Mainly discovering new structures is kind of the big thing that hint towards what you have to do. Of course, to any seasoned Minecraft player, once you kind of get diamonds and whatnot, or hell, even before that, your goal is probably to go to the Nether. But just to kind of hint at that more explicitly, I'll probably, add some more structures, maybe some more hints that tell you should probably go to the Nether next. Or something like that. So that's kind of the idea behind Stage 3 and Stage 4. Stage 4 is basically saying that you have some of the strongest stuff you can get in the overworld. You don't really have to worry about, like, running into a pig and, praying that you don't get two-shot, because you have the kind of armor and stuff like that. But then, you finally build a nether portal and you go to the nether, and now everything is so much harder. I think the parallel that I'm making is between Terraria's pre-hard mode and hard mode, where once you step into the nether, it's kind of like entering hard mode, where all of a sudden everything is kind of killing you immediately again, and you have to adjust to that. So that's the idea behind that. You explore through the nether, and by Stage 6, you'll stumble across, the nether fortress, or I'll give some other kind of hint that'll help you find the nether fortress. I don't know. And, you'll figure out how to make better items out of the nether's resources by defeating things like the blaze and the wither skeleton and all that fun stuff. And then hopefully by that point you'll also stumble across like bastions and piglins and some hellfire, and you can make much more powerful tools and items from stuff that you found in the nether. And then hopefully the idea is to have it so that in the nether there's some kind of hint that leads you towards the stronghold. Although if you already know Minecraft, you already know to go to the stronghold, but to kind of make that hint a little more explicit, just because, like I said, I'm going from the perspective of a new player. So hey Connor, I was going to talk to you eventually about this because, like I said at the beginning of the stream, this yeah, I was actually doing some other stuff earlier with my family, but now that I have time, I'm doing this instead. So this is a great use of my time and my speaking voice. So, after you get through the nether, the next idea is to go to the stronghold. And once you get down to the stronghold, I'll probably have some other kind of, besides silverfish, because silverfish are cool, but add some other stuff down there maybe. I don't know what yet, but that's for later to decide. Once you get to the stronghold, you go through the end portal, you get to the end, you have to deal with the dragon. I haven't really thought through how I want to change the dragon, because I know that I want you to have to defeat the dragon, and then go to the outer end islands to kind of progress through. I don't know if I'll add any more phases or if I'll add some other danger or what, just to make the dragon harder. I think if I remember correctly, it's been a while. If I remember correctly, in the other pain pack, or the 5th version of the pain pack, the dragon is just like stupid fast and flings you really, really far, which is cool. It's nice and easy to implement, but it's also kind of lame. But anyways, so once you kill the dragon, you go to the outer end islands and you find a bunch of cool stuff. I hadn't really thought about what cool stuff to add besides that terminite. I don't even remember if once we got past the dragon in our old playthroughs, if we even got terminite. Because after we got through the dragon, it was kind of over and we were all very done. But, the idea is to once you get out to the Outer End Islands, there's some kind of hint or whatever that takes you down to the Deep Dark. This pack's goal is to add 2 more bosses after the Ender Dragon. First is fighting the Warden, which I kind of want to turn into a boss itself, that has its own drops and whatnot. And this kind of existed in the old version of the Pain Pack, but it's the way that we defeated it the one time we played it was just by beating the crap out of it until it killed us, respawning and immediately continuing to beat the crap out of it, which was funny as hell, but also not quite intended. But so you go down to the Deep Dark. The idea is to, and I say that a lot, is to use that Ultim Eye to kind of take you to the Deep Dark, kind of how the Eye of Ender takes you to the Stronghold, and get you to an ancient city, fight the Warden, spawn it somehow, probably change that too. And then once you defeat the Warden, you finally go and you make some of the strongest stuff you can, and you take on the Wither. The end goal is to, 1, make the Wither the final boss, and 2, try and make it harder than the Bedrock Wither. So we'll see how that goes. I think that'll be interesting. So yeah, once you defeat the Wither, that's it. Mod's over. Go home, play some like fucking Stardew Valley or something. Calm down. So yeah, there you go. That's the plan. There will be a test on this at the end of the week, so I hope you were taking notes. So now, the idea is to use this document to plan out all the different items that I would like to add, and just make it fit, because that is a lot, and balancing is really difficult, especially when I don't really know how to easily turn this into multiplayer, because like with Bedrock, you know, you just join a world and everyone else can join it, downloads it. But with Java, you got to do like, you know, servers and stuff. It's kind of cringe. But yeah, so the idea before we implement too much stuff is to plan it all out first. So this is going to be hell, and it's not going to be fun. But someone's got to do it, and it might as well be me. So here we go. This is what I got so far in terms of planning. The idea is to kind of have different items correspond to these different stages of progression that I just spent like 20 minutes talking through. As you can see, I kind of have all the different information that I want on here. We have the amount of damage that each item does, and these are just melee weapons. One thing that the original Pain Pack didn't have was ranged weapons. I'm hoping to add some like new bows and whatnot. Maybe add some pocket sand. That was an idea that we had that never got added. But I want to get some pocket sand on the go, just because I think it'd be funny. But for now, I'm just working through melee weapons, and then hopefully once melee weapons are kind of through, the rest should kind of fall into place. So yeah, the idea is to kind of have, you know, your fistful of dirt, and then from the fistful of dirt, you can kind of go and pick between these 3. I say pick. These are kind of the next natural progression, is your flint dagger, mod time. That's right. This isn't going to be very interesting, so I'm going to just warn you right now. So flint dagger, pointy stick, also soul. You missed about a half an hour worth of me explaining everything. So if you're confused at all, like, back up in the stream, maybe put it on 2x speed, listen to me ramble, and then you can come back and we can get going. If you're ever confused. But so, yeah, I'm kind of just describing everything out right now, and then I kind of want to turn it into a flowchart just so it makes a little more sense, but oh well. So yeah, we have the flint dagger, pointy stick. I'm also trying to incorporate the regular vanilla items into this progression, just because they're still there, and I kind of want to keep them there just as an option. Although they're probably not going to be as cool as the modded stuff because I'm incredibly biased. But yeah, so I'm kind of down to the copper dagger. As you can see, I'm not quite very far in terms of all the stuff I need to describe. There's a couple items I still need to sort through, but that's kind of what this stream's all about. So, I'm currently working on the Copper Dagger. What do we want the Copper Dagger to do? Well, I kind of want the Copper Dagger to sit somewhere around stage 2 of progression, so kind of, you know, starting to go into the mines. So it's not all that powerful, but it's a nice upgrade from the frickin' pointy stick. So, and then I still think having a small chance to strike the target with lightning is funny. That's what it does now. It has a very, very small chance to do that. If I come in here, it has a 5% chance to strike the target with lightning. I know, code, very scary. But I still think keeping that is just, it's funny. Also, I have to. I mean, come on. And then, of course, we have the flavor text here. I can't come up with any funny text for a pointy stick. Like, I have a wooden sword, speak softly, and carry a big stick. That's funny, okay? Anyone who's anybody knows what that means. But but I can't come up with anything funny for the pointy stick because it's a new item and I don't have anything for it yet. I do have something for the Copper Dagger. I just need to remember what it is. Oh yeah, I don't want to talk about it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of put that over here for now. So that's kind of the idea behind this stream, is working through this document and planning out some of this stuff. So I'm thinking on kind of the same tier as the Stone Dagger is the Copper Dagger is the Stone Sword. And so I'll probably make it do about the same amount of damage as the Copper Dagger. Although maybe with... Let me pull up the wiki, actually. I don't actually know how much damage the Stone Sword does. Okay, it does 5. So yeah, that's actually about on par with the Copper Dagger, so that's cool. And its durability is 130, which is honestly not that bad. I think I'll keep it at that. Just because I kind of want these to be on the same tier and just give you options. So I don't know, we'll come with some flavor text for that later. But I don't think this one needs any special text. And then another idea that I have that I'll get to once we get to those weapons is something similar to Terraria's class system, where you can choose a weapon based on, you know, it'll have pros and cons compared to other ones. I think the ideas that I have for class right now are prioritizing attack damage, prioritizing player and attack speed, and something else. I don't really know for sure, because as much as I want to make this basically just Terraria, I also don't want to copy Terraria completely. I don't know. It's something to think about when we're adding stuff. But for right now, I'm not really prioritizing what class should this weapon be, because this is all like super basic stuff right now. But I think the next thing that we need is, if we're moving on, is going onto iron. I think should be the next thing, or no? If we're doing custom, I would go probably add meteor shard next in the progression. Because the idea is to find that kind of meteor ingot stuff. You just find that randomly in chests, or like you can stumble across meteors or whatever, and you can mine it and, you know, get good stuff from it. So as you're exploring, you can stumble across meteors, or just meteor shards, meteor ingots, whatever. So I think I'm gonna bump this one's durability, or this damage, sorry. I'm gonna say 7. Well, no, let's bump it up more. Let's do 8. Because the other thing is that I'm gonna scale like mob health a lot as well. So if the damage seems like it's getting really high really fast, don't worry about it. I think, actually, I'll stick with 7. And the reason I say that is because I kind of want this to be the harder one to get, because you can get iron fairly easily. And let me just add this really quickly. Because I'm thinking we make the iron sword do 6 damage, because you can get iron decently easily, and by God, it already does 6 damage. I'm so good at this. But maybe make iron have a little bit less durability. Meteor have more durability. What are we looking at for durability right now? 250? That's honestly fine. Let's bump this up to 320. Do like 275 here. I'm pulling these numbers out of my ass, by the way. I just so everyone's aware. And I believe the way the meteor shard currently works, I do have this one implemented, is it has a 15% chance to set the target on fire. Because of course it does. So I think that's fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that as is. Next thing is chance to set target on fire. Okay. So yeah, at this point we're kind of in stage 3 here of items. I'm going to, well, the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking gold might not be that bad. I don't know how exactly I want to deal with gold, because gold's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know. Let me just see how does it kind of set up here? Because gold just sucks. Gold just sucks. So yeah, gold literally does the same damage as wood, bro, and it has less durability. Sure, it has high enchantability, but who cares? God, this is a lot of stuff. So, where was I going? So I'm thinking maybe just turning gold into like a stone sword option, maybe. Or maybe just forgetting about it and dealing with it later. I just don't really care for gold stuff, and I really don't want to slot it in. Like, very well could, but that would require a lot of other changes. And honestly, that's just another thing to add on top of all the other stuff I've got going on here. So what I might do instead is just not worry about it for now. Just kind of leave it as is. We're not adding any special effect to iron, by the way, so don't worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to diamond, I want to say. So let's move on to diamond. It's gonna get, yeah, we can say we can buff it to, God, look at that jump. Anyways, probably around the same as the meteor shard. Honestly, better. I'm gonna say better. We'll make diamonds a bit better, but I want to kind of, at this point, I think this is where that that idea of classes comes in. So this is what I want to figure out, is what kind of classes do I add? Like, to use the word classes anyways. So far the ideas are attack damage, of course, so just full on offense, right? So better attack damage, maybe worse attack speed, and durability isn't really that big of a deal. Worse attack speed and maybe enchantability, but that feels a little, I don't know. Defensive, to me, I want to say like buffed attack speed, attack or player speed. Honestly, just make the player themselves a little bit quicker. The only problem is by kind of breaking it down like this, I really don't have any other ideas for classes. We could always do something where could try and prioritize like AoE. I don't know. AoE. There's not really that many situations where you're dealing with that though. I'm not sure. And see, this is the big problem that I was running into when I was kind of coming up with this earlier. Was if I want this idea of classes so that, you know, there's more incentive to try different items. You know, how do I split it up more than just these two? Or maybe I don't. Maybe I don't have to. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's kind of the big thing. I'm not sure. What is this song, bro? Sorry, I just got hard distracted for a second. Anyways, so I'm thinking that to balance stuff out, I almost want to make the diamond sword, because the only other thing I'm kind of thinking about is the frostbite, where to put that in. If I put it in now, you know, maybe because right now my immediate thought is obsidian sword is kind of the alternative to diamond, right? Or maybe the step up, I suppose. Maybe we could do frostbite and diamond sword are kind of your two alternatives. Because at this point, if you're exploring underwater more and you have access to that kind of stuff, the idea of a frostbite sword, you know, water, ice, cold, yada yada yada. Or if we kind of left diamond on its own, maybe even made gold kind of similar to diamond, I'm not sure. If we took diamond, kind of put it on its own, and then your next step up from diamond is obsidian sword and frostbite. And obsidian sword is kind of your hard-hitting but slower weapon, while your frostbite is like a quicker version of the obsidian sword that just does less damage. That makes sense in my head anyways. And we can always add more weapons kind of in between this if we want. It's not like I'm forced to just stick with these weapons here, but I want to, just because they're already made. I already have textures for them, and adding any more feels like just trying to shove too much stuff into one area that probably isn't ever going to get used. And of course, the only other thing besides that is, you know, making it so that it's obvious that your next step up from something is something else. So, like, is it obvious that the next step up from the obsidian sword is the frostbite, or from the diamond sword is the frostbite? And I could just be way overthinking this. I don't know for sure. And it's kind of hurting my head. A lot of this is hurting my head. And this is, once again, why I don't do game design. And if I were to do game design, it would be on a different game, like making an actual game. Because that's the other problem with this, is since I'm making a mod for a game, and I kind of want to keep the vanilla style of everything, you know, I have to kind of plug into this current system, which is tricky. And also, I'm just not that very good at game design in general, so that adds to it. But this is just a plan. I don't have to stick to this fully. We can test stuff, and if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. So I think for now, I'm gonna buff up the obsidian sword a lot. And I'm gonna make its durability pretty freaking high, like, I don't know, 2026, sure. Maybe a chance to stun enemies or something. Well, no, because I already have that elsewhere. Chance to... What do you think of when you think of obsidian? Like bleeding, maybe? Because obsidian is basically like a glass, right? If I Google obsidian... Not the software. No, I don't need that. Yes, okay. Yeah, it's a glass. So... You know... And, I mean, it's brittle, sure. But it's also sharp. So I think maybe there's a chance that it conchoidal? Not follow any natural plans of... Okay, sorry, I'm doing it again. I think I didn't want to click on it. I don't want to read about Ramadan right now. Oof, okay, I'm getting, once again, hard distracted. Close that. Back to Minecraft for a second. So yeah, I think maybe a chance to cause target to bleed, I think, would kind of be interesting. And then we'll come with flavor text later. I'm not prioritizing flavor text right now. And then honestly, I think diamond at its normal durability is fine. Like I said, durability isn't really the priority. I'm kind of using it to balance out some of these early game items, kind of. But it's not the biggest deal in the world. So, along with the obsidian sword, I wanted to throw in the frostbite. And right now, the frostbite also does... How exactly do I have this set up right now? It does 8 damage. But it also has a 1 in 4 chance to freeze the target and slow them down. So, I'm either going to do slow target or stun target. I'm not... Whoa, what the hell did I just do? Oh. I almost like stun more. I think stun's a bit cooler. So yeah, these three weapons here are kind of in that stage 4 of things. Because once you get diamond, you know, you've pretty thoroughly explored the world, you've figured out things, you're getting obsidian, so you have this, you've figured out how to go underwater at this point, safe-ishly. And now you're kind of starting to mess around with nether stuff. So I think... following that up with the Piglin War Axe makes sense. Honestly, this might be the point where I introduce gold weapons, because now that I think about it, I have an idea. And I think it's to turn gold, like, weapons and items into kind of nether, almost nether exclusive. Where to make them, you need nether specific items. I think making gold kind of a nether thing would be interesting. And this is an idea that I literally just came up with, so I'm gonna go ahead and write it down. And I don't know if I'm gonna like that later. Is it golden or gold? I don't know. It is golden. Okay. Is that its ID? It is, okay. Golden sword. Sure. Golden sword. So I don't know if I'm gonna make it do much more damage. I honestly might make it do pretty crappy damage. But I kind of want to buff its durability. Which, to be fair, anything is better than freaking, what is it, 32. Yeah. So I think I'm going to, because another thing is that I'm changing up the items that like piglins and zombie piglins are holding in the nether. So like I think in the paint pack number 5, zombie pigmen hold diamond swords, while piglins have, if they're not holding a crossbow, they have the war axe. So I think making the war axe non-craftable, but making it a rare drop from piglins is okay. Mainly just so they have something interesting to hold, give them a little more prominence. Maybe make them have gold sometimes too. I don't know. Maybe change the war axe so that it has a little more gold in it. Because right now it's just... Jesus, where is it? Yeah, it's just kind of... It's got gold. I wish I could remember where this texture came from. This is a cool texture, but I don't think I made it. I might have recolored it, but I definitely didn't make it. But, anyways. Going back here, very fast. Sorry, just going through some stuff. Minimize that muy rápidamente. Yeah, so we're gonna go in. I'm gonna buff the durability on this. And I'm gonna say we'll do like I don't know, 1934. Why not 1984? Because it's a funnier number. Crafted using nether items along with the rest of gold tier items. So yeah, something like that. Just because gold sucks and I really don't know where else to put it in progression, so I think making it like a weak nether item, also potentially making it so that if you die and you lose your stuff, you at least aren't stuck at rock bottom if you don't really have much of anything else. If you get to the nether and you get gold, and probably some other stuff as well, just so it's not stupid easy. But you can quickly make some okay weapons. Because this is like on, I want to say iron, yeah, meteor shard, iron sword tier. So that's kind of my thought process behind that right now. But that can always change. So for now, I'm gonna start with the war axe. If I could spell, anyways, Jesus. So I think this is kind of where I want this spike to happen. So I'm going to spike this up to like 15 or something. And up its durability to like something stupid. Like, yeah, that'll work. Durability. I don't think this one really needs anything special. I don't think. I don't even know what it could give, except for like weakness, maybe? Has a chance to inflict weakness? I don't know. Just something a little extra. But I think at that point, kind of once you've... Because the next step is the Inferno. So I kind of want to... I think... Is there anything else that I might want here? Kind of before you get to the fortress. And not really... And also, this could also be a time where, like, I add more ranged weapons. You know, like different bows and whatnot. Because obviously with bows, really only got the two, and it's a bow and a crossbow. So I think adding more bows and maybe more arrows, and if I can, maybe even doing stuff like giving the fletching table a purpose, would be kind of cool. Basically, it's like me taking a bunch of, you know, mod packs that are, or mods that already exist, that you normally just put into a mod pack, and just combining it all under one progression, basically. I don't know if any of this makes sense, but that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. So we have the Piglin War Axe. I don't really know if there's any other things I want to add between the War Axe and the Inferno, because once you get kind of into the Nether, and you go to the fortress, and you get into the fortress, and you get like Hellfire and The idea is to have that essence of fire be exclusive to the nether, and it only drops from nether mobs, and that's what you use to make like hellfire stuff. So I think if I jump right to the inferno and give it a pretty decent buff compared to, so yeah, inferno damage. I want to buff it up to like 19. Give it some good durability just so you don't have to make another one. I don't know. Obviously, chance to probably set the target on fire. Maybe even give holder fire resistance or something. Although I might actually move that to... this might get moved to armor, but I'll note it for now. Just to give you something besides just, oh, it sets things on fire. I don't know what else you really could do with it, though. Maybe, here's an idea. Right-click, shoot a fireball. I could see this getting really chaotic, especially if you've built something out of wood. I don't know. I think it could be fun. Shouldn't be that bad to implement either, but that's a bridge we can cross when we get there. So on second thought, we're gonna knock that off there. Gonna keep these. We already have the idea of setting someone on fire with a meteor shard, but that's a much smaller chance, and I'll probably have the target burn a lot longer with the inferno. Maybe somehow add some kind of special fire that can't be put out by water or something when you hit it with the inferno. But I'm not quite sure. So at this point, once you've gotten the inferno and you've kind of gone through the bastions and you've dealt with piglins and whatnot, that's kind of it. You've reached the nether overcoming. So at this point, I kind of want to, the idea, and if you look here, the next item that I have implemented is the Deity's Blade, which I don't know if you saw. Was crafted using the Inferno plus the Frostbite plus an Essence of Life. It's basically like the Terrorblade, kind of. And I think that's where the texture's inspiration came from. But it's always felt kind of weird to me because you get the Inferno and then you just immediately can upgrade it to a Deity's Blade if you have the Frostbite, which is obviously not as hard to get compared to the Inferno. So I think at this point, another, well, hold on. Nope, I'm thinking again. I think something else to do would be to add another sword. So like the Inferno is kind of your heavy hitter, right? But thinking like this, having another sword, maybe that drops from wither skeletons, or you craft from the items of wither skeletons, that is quicker and has its own kind of special effects. So I'm thinking that might not be that bad of an idea, actually. I don't have a clever name for it off the top of my head, so I'm just going to call it Wither Sword. So it's not going to do as good a damage, probably only like 17 or 16. Durability is probably going to be about the same. We'll buff it up to 5,012. I'm just choosing random numbers. Obviously, chance to inflict target with wither. What is the actual name of that effect? Wither effect. Is it literally just wither? Yeah. It is literally just wither. Okay. So it's basically okay. Wither. So, and of course we'll get to this guy. But wither, yeah, chance to inflict the target with the wither effect. Let's just say wither. Something else, maybe. So yeah, I think maybe making this one attack faster. I guess let me just kind of go through and divide this up really fast. Yeah, well, no. I'll leave it like this for now. So, yeah, the idea is to have, once you get to this kind of stage 7, you get these 2 options for weapons, and it just depends on, which one you want. So I'll probably also make this one a little harder to get because of the amount of damage it does. But those are all things that I can tweak with play testing and whatnot. Like this, none of this has been implemented yet, so. I think after the Wither Sword, we get to the Deity's Blade, and I'm not really sure how I want to do the Deity's Blade. Oh, I still think making it a combination of different effects is neat. It might also be cool to maybe lock it behind something in the Stronghold. But at that point, I don't even know what that would be. I'm not sure. The Deity's Blade is weird to me. That whole kind of section of progression in between the Nether, kind of coming back from the Nether and going to the end, I haven't fully fleshed out in my head. So you get the Inferno, and you're kind of cruising through the Nether. The Nether isn't that bad anymore. And you get back to the overworld, and what? Obviously you have the Eye of Ender now, and you kind of start, I don't know, maybe combining with other weapons besides the Inferno. This is frustrating. The Deity's Blade, because it's like I'm not speaking complete nonsense here, right? You get the Inferno, you come back to the overworld, and then with its current recipe, you basically just get a better sword for free without having to work for it all that much. Maybe. And this goes back to another idea that I had, which was you have the Ender Dragon, which is a boss in the end. You have the Warden, which is a boss underground in like the Deep Dark. And then you have the Wither, which is kind of like the boss of the Nether, kind of, because that's where you get all the materials for it. But there really isn't like a boss for the surface of the overworld. And I was almost thinking of adding one. So perhaps maybe making that the way you get the Deity's Blade. Maybe you have to fight some kind of like deity. I don't know. Anyways, let me just get this down. Because the name The Deity's Blade implies the existence of a deity. I don't really know why it's called The Deity's Blade. I genuinely don't remember. It's been so long that I just don't remember. But So yeah, I think buffing this up, durability, and 9, sure. I think this would be interesting if we did like some kind of lifesteal. I think would be kind of cool. Damage. So yeah, basically, however much damage you do to the enemy, you get healed that much, or something like that. Some kind of lifesteal sort of deal. And I don't know, maybe incorporate, if I am going to make this like a combination of items, incorporate the effects of those other items. But I'm not fully like set on that idea. So I'm not gonna note it at the moment. That's how it currently works. And whenever I say currently, I mean how it works in the older version of the pain pack, the version 5. Is that I believe it's just a combination of a bunch of different attacks. But I think lifesteal would be interesting. Like maybe make it like a percent of the amount of damage you dealt is the amount of health you get back, probably. Because if you're constantly getting healed for like 20, then you're basically just getting full health every single time. But I think kind of once you get to the Deity's Blade, at that point you're going to be in the end fighting the dragon. You probably won't even be using a sword, you'll probably be using a bow. So I have a couple ideas for the end. We have obviously the Terminus, which is probably going to be like the end's version of the Inferno. So I'm going to start with the other end sword that I have, the Ender Sword. So this one isn't going to do as much damage. Looking sick. I'm staring at a Google document postal. This is a very lame Google document in Arial font. Sick is not the word I would use. Sick in the head, maybe. But anyways. God, it's just been me rambling to myself for the past hour and a half. Hour and 15 minutes, not hour and a half. So I'm not that crazy. But I think for this, if we were to make it maybe about as good as the Deity's Blade, durability probably a little more, but like I said, at this point durability really doesn't matter. The words and ideas like sick dumbass. Well, you know, it's just on the surface what I'm doing right now is really lame. Hopefully the ideas are cool, and if you say they look sick, I'll take your word for it. But alternatively, you could still also mean sick in the head. Anyways, sorry. I'm losing in my mind. Ender Sword. The Ender Sword, the Ender Sword, the Ender Sword. What I want to do with this thing is make it so that you can right-click to throw an Ender Pearl. You don't actually have to have an Ender Pearl. I don't think that's my idea anyways. You can just right-click and you can teleport. And this will probably be made using the kind of end stuff, like pre-dragon stuff. So like Ender Pearls. I think currently it's made using the Ultima, if I remember correctly. If I go into here... I'm not looking through all of this, oh my god. Yeah, it's currently made with the Ultima, so I'll probably keep that similar idea. And yeah, it's be easy. Who the fuck knows at this point? So, Ender Sword, and then once you defeat the big boy dragon, you get this thing, the Terminus. And the Terminus is, if we're kind of, and I might come up with another thing that you get kind of on the outer end islands, maybe some kind of thing made out of coarse fruit. I think that existed in an older version of the pack, if I remember correctly. And I have older versions of the pack up here on GitHub. Both of the... This link, as well as all of this, you can find in the description if you want to look at it yourself. Or if you're man enough, you can compile it yourself. But yeah, if I go in here, I think there was a chorus thing that I had at some point. Or at the very least, some armor, maybe. Maybe there's armor. These are your own custom weapons. Postal, I don't remember if you were there at all for the pain pack kind of stuff that I did a while ago. But this is, I guess, yeah, these are custom weapons. This is the pain pack, which is supposed to be like a really stupidly difficult, stupidly unfair, but kind of goofy Minecraft mod that started out in Bedrock, and I'm currently porting it to Java in Fabric, the Java edition of the game. So, like I said, I have streams of the pain pack. Let me go see if I can find it very fast. Pain. I think it just has the word pain in it. I don't remember. Well, that's Bali. Yeah, that's not quite it. But yeah, it's these two streams here where we played the pain pack. Yeah, this one was really long.
What did you modify?
But as you can see, there was a whole lot of stuff going on in this one. This is a very fun stream. It's very long, but this one was fun. I really enjoyed this one. So if you ever have time, I would maybe turn it on to 2x speed. But watch through this one. Or, if I remember correctly, this one I turned into a short, actually. Ignore that. Yeah, this is the one that I turned... Ah! Me! Terrifying. This one's a short, if you just want a condensed version of that stream. But, it's a pack, makes things difficult, and I'm making the final version of it now, because I've made... I'm coming up on making 6 of these damn things, and I kind of just want to make one and never have to make another one again. Yeah, I'd put it on in the background. Do some actual productive stuff while you listen to me and a bunch of other grown men scream at, like, freaking cows or whatever. But, yeah, so instead of just making things, I'm taking the time to actually plan stuff out. So hopefully everything kind of feels better and, you know, I don't know, it's just better made. I like to think I've come a long way. Like, the first version of this pack was, I think, made before the Nether update, so it's been a while. God, I can't even... God, it's been so long at this point. When did the Nether update come out? As you can see, I need some medication. 2020. God. Yeah, so before June 23rd, 2020, was when the first version of the pain pack came out, and I've been making versions of it ever since. Oh, I'm gonna throw up. But anyways, back to this. So, you defeat the Ender Dragon, yay, but it's not over yet, because there's still 2 other bosses in the game, and hopefully I come up with a clever way to hint at that. So, you go to the Outer End Islands, and some way, somehow, I haven't thought of it yet, you get Terminite. And using the Terminite, you can make the Terminus Sword. And with the Terminus, we're going to boost it quite a lot. I'm going to say 35, just because it sounds like a good number. I don't know if I know anymore. Probably bump durability up again. Once again, these numbers don't fucking mean anything. But I should probably check and make sure that the... I don't actually know how high this can go. Yeah, I don't actually know how much durability can go up. Probably to the 32-bit integer limit if I had to take a guess. So let me see. Yeah, it's just an integer. So, okay. Most progression look like dungeons and run-on progressions, but harder. To summarize what I went over earlier, because I took about 10 to 15 minutes explaining my idea for it earlier, and that was really long-winded and boring. So I'll try and clean things up. It's basically Minecraft progression, regular Minecraft progression, but everything wants to kill you. So, like, the paint pack started because I was messing with making a behavior pack with Minecraft Bedrock, and that's super easy to just mess with things. And so I made the cow, like, attack you, and that's where it all began. So everything tries to attack you. Cows attack you, pigs attack you, Freaking sheep don't attack you. That's a whole nother thing. Obviously, hostile mobs attack you, but worse. I think creepers get on your shoulder. That's a fun little feature that I added. But just in general, everything is harder. Almost like RL Craft, but not really. I haven't played through RL Craft. I should probably play through RL Craft at some point. I think I said that already. Ugh. So yeah, once you get through the overworld, you go to the Nether, and things are still hard, but you can get access to cooler resources and whatnot. And then you finally get out of the Nether, and you go to the Stronghold, and you go to the end, and you fight the dragon. But that's kind of where I add a little bit more on to the end of the game, where after you defeat the Ender Dragon, that's only the first boss out of 3 to quote-unquote beat the game. The second boss that I want to do is the Warden, where you have to go into the Deep Dark, and using some kind of system that I haven't dreamed up yet, you summon the Warden and fight it as a boss rather than just a regular mob. And then once you fight the Warden, you finally go and you fight the Wither, and the Wither's kind of your final boss of the pack. So once you kill the Wither, and of course all these mobs are going to get buffs and different attack patterns and whatnot, I just have to add those. But once all that happens, then you've quote-unquote beaten the game. And the idea is that you can follow this progression that I have here to the letter, but that's not really the intended. It's you don't have to follow it exactly, but I'm gonna try and leave enough hints through like flavor text and structures and whatnot to kind of guide you on the right path. That's the idea anyways. I don't know how exactly it's gonna work in practice, so that's kind of what the plan is, though, and that's what this document is just planning things. So I hope that was about the most long-winded explanation I could manage, if that made any kind of sense whatsoever. If you want to see all the stuff that's already been added to this pack, and all of this has just been ported stuff from the Bedrock version, but if you want to see all this, like skip back in the stream to like the very beginning, watch about the first half hour. I don't know, like put it on 2x speed or whatever. Watch through all that. I explain all of it and show all this stuff in game. Fucking dope. Awesome. That's exactly what I needed to hear. My ego, it's growing. Not in a weird way. That sounded weird. Terminus. Yes. Right. What do we do with this thing? I don't even remember what this did in the other version, because whenever we play tested this, gameplay sounds fun and frustrating. Trust me, if you go back and watch those old streams, you got to remember that by the time of those streams, we'd been playing this pack for who knows how long, and yet it's still so aggravating. But exactly what I'm going for. Yeah. But I don't even remember what the terminus does. I gotta look back and see. Terminus. So yeah, this is what I was dealing with on Bedrock, is JSON files. What does this thing even do? It does the exact same thing as another weapon. That's nice. Oh my god, it does so much. Wait, what? Effect. Why does it make you levitate? Or does it make the target levitate? Oh, it makes the target levitate. Okay, I was like, oh god, why does the sword make you, the attacker, levitate? God, that does sound like something I would do, though. That definitely sounds like something I would do, is it's just to screw you over. But I don't even know. I guess maybe it could shoot some kind of cool projectile, which is just Terraria at this point. This whole fucking mod is just Terraria. Could do some kind of projectile. And now I'm getting back to the issue of what do I do with the Deity's Blade? It's like that again, but more frustrating. God, why is game design so hard? It's almost like people go to school for this kind of stuff. Okay. You have a blade. You get it after defeating the Ender Dragon. What does it do? because we already kind of have the teleport thing going on with the Ender Sword. And I suppose we could always keep that, just also make it teleport you, because why not? The Ender Sword isn't that great anyways. I don't know. I think for now, I'll keep it as just right-click to throw an Ender Pearl. But maybe make it so that... Because maybe if you have the Ender Sword, you can use the Ender Pearl thing, but it damages the sword. But with the Terminus, you can teleport all you want or something. You know, something like that. And then we'll add flavor text later. What's next on the chopping block? After the Terminus... after you get through the end, your goal is to go down to the ancient city. And so, of course, we have the deep slash already, but I feel like we need something else down there, at least for melee weapons. There could also be a ranged weapon. Let's see, have you ever considered the End Remastered mod? It makes the player collect 12 unique Eyes of Ender to enter the end. I think it would be something to consider to make it harder. Ooh... End Remastered mod. I know that there's been a bunch of different mods that do like end update stuff. Let me see. Let me check it out. Because I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think I said it before, but like this is basically just me taking a bunch of different mods, taking a bunch of different mods like ideas and then putting them into one mod to kind of fit the one progression. So I am not opposed to plagiarism. Let's see what we got going on here. The eyes, just like they allow you. They're not dropped by Enderman. It must be found by. Ooh, old eye. Ooh, desert. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, and it forces exploration, and that's kind of something I want to do. Okay. Probably won't do the wither one because, you know, the withers. Yeah, anyways. Witch. Oh, doing something with the witch would be cool, actually. I think that could be interesting. And also, I can't highlight or else it'll fucking close. Okay. Guardian Eye. That's another thing. I'm not really doing anything with the Elder Guardian. Okay. Aquatic items. Master Cleric. Not really prioritizing villagers all that much, because I think in the current version of the pack, villagers also attack you. So, but we could always do something like that. And then obviously I don't have to follow this to the letter. This is someone else's idea. And while I said I'm not opposed to plagiarism, it also does... I do have a little bit of dignity left, so I'm not going to outright steal. But I'm definitely going to borrow, especially if they have any cool textures, because I can't draw worth shit. But yes, no, that is cool. That's going on. I need a. We can add a new like fucking part to this document or whatever, and just call this inspiration. Inspiration. There. You can change it and show this functionality to change the eyes completely. Oh yeah, no, like I've gotten, in terms of like actually implementing stuff, I've gotten better at it. I wouldn't say I'm a complete master because, God, some of this stuff is just so annoying. And also, another thing worth noting, since you're here, Postal, is that this is 1, built in Fabric, and 2, for Minecraft version 1.20.1. So some of the newer stuff, like, I think Happy Ghasts and, like, copper items and whatnot, isn't in here. But yeah, something that I've been messing around with a lot is modifying, like, vanilla stuff, which has been kind of a headache, kind of a nightmare, not very fun, but I've got something going. So I've started adding, like, you know, this cow thing makes it so that cows want to kill you. And while this is going to require me to, like, make a lot of different classes with a lot of... It's going to be a headache. It's going to be a headache. Just to cut myself off there, it's going to be a headache. So you can't do a trial chamber eye. No, I mean, I could always upgrade the mod to 1.21. But for the time being, I'm just keeping it in 1.20. Just once I kind of get all that stuff working, and kind of get a version of the mod that's playable, we can always upgrade it. I don't see why not. I think doing stuff with the trial chambers would be fun, but that's a bunch of other mobs that I would have to update and think about. So we'll get there when we get there. For right now, making something that works is my top priority. But yeah, so I've got that added. Definitely going to take a look at this for progression. But going back down here really fast. Let me just get the rest of this stuff added. Yeah. Like, I mean, this is relatively, I say easy. It's not a discussion for later. Exactly. Put a pin in it. And then I'll forget to do it later. Just so I don't forget. How about this? Why am I disconnected from Trello? I just want to add shit to the thing. Grade mod 21. Of course, if I take too long on this, then they're gonna be up to like, I don't even know what the most recent version of Minecraft is. I haven't actually sat down and played Minecraft in a little bit. Oh well. So I'm gonna get these final two weapons added just on here, kind of get them described, and then I can go through and add other stuff onto here later. So let's get the deep slash added, because it's already kind of in the game. If I can 45, I don't know, 42, because it's a cool number. Durability, we're gonna bump that baby up to like 809. I don't know. I also don't know what this one does that's special. Let me double check and see if it does anything or not. Probably doesn't, knowing me. It probably does something really stupid. Let's see. Okay, it also seems to do some kind of lifesteal thing. And withering, that's interesting. You gotta remember that this is... There is so much stuff that I would love to describe about the process of making one of these damn things, but it is so much. You made mining more difficult, like how hard it is to get diamonds. The difficulty from mining, just at the moment anyways, purely comes from the difficulty of the mobs that you have to deal with. So there really isn't much changes to the generation of things. It's mainly down to how to get certain items, the difficulty getting there. So like right now, just underground mobs in general are more difficult to deal with, especially in early game. Also, some other things that make the game a little more annoying. If you want to make a furnace, you have to get deep slate in addition to cobblestone in order to just make a furnace. Stuff like what am I trying to say here? Stuff like tools, vanilla tools require the use of, in addition to the regular like ingots and ores, require the use of full blocks. So to make an iron pickaxe, you need 2 iron ingots plus an iron block to make the item. Okay, what if you had to process ores or something of the sorts? Yeah, deep slate for furnace is definitely something I'm very happy about. That was such a good idea. I don't remember if it was me who came up with the idea or if it was Connor. I said it kind of at the beginning of the stream, but a lot of this pack has been me and Connor, Bunnyboing21, coming up with like terrible ideas that we want to subject ourselves to in Minecraft, and then adding it. So I don't remember if that was a me idea or if that was a Connor idea. But anyways, so yeah, what if you had to process ores or something of the sorts? I think that could be interesting, because I already have an idea for this new version of the pack, for these essences that I have. That's another item that that's added, that is kind of getting slotted into progression, where you use essences to make like basically low tier potions. Require the player have an iron pick or higher to mine furnaces. Oh god. Oh, that would... Interesting. Let me make a note of that and see how I can mess with that idea, because I like where you're thinking. Tier pickaxe. Iron to... if they found one in villages, but they'll just be use it there anyway. That's fair, although in villages, the villagers want to kill you, and so do the cats, and so do the iron golem. So it's not like you can really hang around all that long. But anyways, I do like where you're thinking though, like adding more items to the tiers, because that is something I think I can do anyways. And if I say I think, you probably can do a lot of things. It's just how much of a headache it's going to be to do a lot of these things is the next question. Because, like, if I were to give this to some master modder, you know, they'd probably be able to make all this in, like, 2 days. But me, I'm an idiot. So it takes me, like, months and multiple trips to wikis, docs, and Reddit. Oh, forgot everything wants to kill you. Yes, that... whenever we're adding the original versions of the pain pack, and it's I really haven't developed this pack like with someone who's never played it before, so this is kind of weird to describe, so I'm sorry that I'm struggling with this. But the original versions of the pain pack were purely that kind of everything wants to kill you thing. There were no custom items. It was literally just changes to vanilla. It was only in later versions of the pack that I started adding custom items to hopefully counterbalance the sheer amount of, like, difficult stuff. Deep Slate isn't necessarily hard anyway. Yeah, I mean, fair. On mobile, that's fine. So yeah, villagers will kind of make it hard to get that kind of stuff. I think right now, if you want to talk to a villager, you can. You just have to make sure that there are no other villagers around, and that once you close out of the menu, you start running away very quickly, because it will just go back to killing you. Like, they're willing to make a sale, you know, they'll do a truce if you've got the money, but never thought of it like that before. But yeah, so kind of going along with your furnace thing, another idea that I had was to make an upgraded furnace that's not just, you know, the smoker and the blast furnace, but just a regular furnace that's made using nether items, kind of in the vein of Terraria's Hellforge. So that's something I'm planning on doing eventually. I guess to kind of go over some of the other stuff that I've done, just because. Let's see, all of the, like the blocks of iron, blocks of diamond, those have been changed so that instead of requiring 9 items, they only require 4. This was made because it was determined that it was kind of annoying to get 9 plus the 2 for like a pickaxe or whatever. So you still have to get the block. You still need more resources, just not as many. So that's another thing that's been changed. Player changes. Players will immediately start drowning when you underwater, and they will immediately die upon touching water. Furnaces obviously use deep slate. There's a couple other variations to them that I added. You can make quartz necessary to refresh. Quartz! How could I forget about quartz? Quartz is a thing! Oh my god, I feel like an idiot. Okay, that's totally getting added somewhere in here. Like, the idea that I had earlier was making golden swords, kind of like the stone or wooden sword of the nether. Requiring quartz in that recipe, just as one idea for quartz. That could be good. How could I forget about quartz? It's literally called nether quartz. I'm an idiot. Okay. We're doing something with quartz. It's going on the list. Quartz. Quartz. Okay. Anyways, to stuff that has already been changed. There's a recipe now where you can turn gravel blocks into flint. by just using 4 gravel in a crafting grid to make 1 flint. I don't remember why that one was added besides just pure quality of life, but it's nice, so might as well. Another thing that was added is the recovery compass, which normally requires like echo shards from ancient cities, I think. So you need to go to an ancient city to get it, but now it requires amethyst. Because you're going to be dying a lot. The flint recipe, yes, it's super nice. Especially because one of the weapons is, like one of the early game weapons is a flint dagger. So getting that relatively easily is nice. But yeah, recovery compass requires amethyst now to make, because you're going to be dying a lot, and amethyst desperately needs a use. This was a Connor idea, if I remember correctly, so I'm not going to like take credit for this one. This was a Connor idea. But it was a very good Connor idea. Just another tweak. And then this one. Yes. So, this is a new idea that I had while I was adding stuff to, or porting stuff. Let's just boot to the damn game at this point. Was those essences that I was talking about. What if you made flint itself harder, like maybe requiring you to brush gravel? I really hadn't thought about using archaeology. Although now that I think about it, did they add archaeology? That was a 1.20 thing, right? Yeah, brush could be cool. I think, yeah, doing stuff with archaeology would be awesome. Why does it look like this? Refresh my page, Jesus Christ. Because it's definitely an idea that I want to play with more, is stuff like this. Oh yeah, they added this. Yeah, they added it. Okay, never mind. I don't know why I thought that was a 1.21 thing. Minecraft versions have just they've lost me at this point. But, just jumping in here really fast, those essences that I was talking about, and here's kind of the progression wall that I was using this before I made the Google Doc, but you can kind of see all of this here. But, yeah, so these essences here, they all kind of have their own things, but these two in particular, this is a new idea that I had, can be used to, if I quickly, you can see this cow wants to kill me right now. However, if I take this essence of peace and I click on him, he's now chill. He's a chill guy. In fact, he acts just like a regular cow from Minecraft. So if I punch him, he's gonna run away. If I try and, spawn in another peaceful cow, they will be able to breed. Things like that. However, if I want to make him annoying again, and it took me probably a month to get the system working, and it almost made me lose my mind. These are textures stolen from Terraria, just to make everyone aware. But if you want to be a troll, you can use the pain essence, and it becomes hostile again. So, yeah. So that's one of the uses of these essences. And I've already kind of been planning out how these are added. They were kind of just added on top of a bunch of other stuff. In the old version of the pack, they were used for these totems that used to exist that were basically like cheap potions. But I got rid of the totems. I didn't really care for them. We didn't really use them anyways. But I'm kind of replacing those with this infuser idea, like this new station or whatever. But that's kind of sums up what I've gotten done with this pack so far. But yeah, you can see all this stuff that I have ported over right now. So here's all the weapons. Here's all the blocks. Whole bunch of crap. None of these really do much of anything right now. But they hopefully will eventually. So that's that. You can also show this really fast. So if I jump into water, as you can see, I immediately start drowning. This is a feature from the old pain pack that makes life a living hell. You can't really do anything underwater unless you get water breathing. And then also lava does kind of something similar, except it instantly kills you instead. So that's cool. So those are ideas that have kind of been in the pain pack since the beginning that should hopefully give you an idea as to how this goes. But that's kind of what I got going so far. So I think back to the Google Doc. I want to say, yeah, let's jump back to the Google Doc. God, there was something I was gonna say, but I forgot. Right, Deep Slash. So it can do something cool. I just can't think of what. The Warden. I guess the Warden has the Sonic Blast attack. Maybe I could just make it so that you get the Sonic Blast attack instead. I don't know. Just right click to use a Sonic Blast attack. The other essences, I just closed out, but I can just describe them here. The Life Essence, I think the current idea, at least this is how it used to be implemented. The Life Essence is dropped from living entities, and my plan for it is to be able to use it in this infuser to make spawn eggs. I don't really know how that would be useful, but I just think it'd be kind of fun to like make a freaking, I don't know, like a creeper spawn egg and then just place it in your base and watch everyone blow up. I like to watch things burn. But yeah, using the Life Essence for stuff like that, kind of looking here in this other document, is using the Life Essence to make like a kind of healing potion. So basically, like potions before you can make potions, before you have access to like blaze powder and brewing stands. And then you have like the Death Essence, which is the opposite of the Life Essence, which drops from, I want to say, undead mobs. And you can use it to make here a potion that gives you strength. In the old version of the Pain Pack, these essences were used for totems, and I think that one literally made a totem of dying. So if you had a totem of dying and you used it, you died. I don't know. I thought it'd be funny. I genuinely don't think we ever used it, but it was there. So besides life and death, you also have fire and water. Fire, it just kind of gives you life or fire resistance, and it drops from nether entities, nether mobs. It's also used in like nether exclusive recipes, which is kind of my way of locking certain items behind, progression. It's like to make certain nether items or items that you should only have after you get to the nether. You need a fire essence, which drops from like blazes and wither skeletons and ghasts and stuff like that. Water essence, drops from mobs underwater, and you can use it to make water breathing type infusions, I'm calling them. So that way you kind of have some way to explore underwater without drowning immediately. So those will drop from, underwater mobs and stuff like that. So you have your fire and your water, your life and death, and then you also have your peace and your pain. So besides, using them to pacify or instigate, hostilize, I don't know, make mobs pissed, you can also use them. What do I have listed here? I have for peace, this one will make like a crappy speed potion. I genuinely don't remember what this one did before. It's been so long. But I think peace will probably be dropped, or it used to be dropped from normally passive mobs. So like since a cow is normally passive in vanilla Minecraft, it would drop this peace essence, even though in this pack it's hostile. And pain essences would drop from normally hostile mobs. But that's a bunch of old ideas. The way it used to be implemented, I don't have a full plan as to how they're going to be implemented now. As you can see, a lot of question marks here and a lot of things that aren't fully planned out. This is... God, I have so much stuff here. Ugh. But the idea is to just have some kind of items that you can use to make special things or use it to lock stuff behind, you know, certain progression. It's like some... What if the nether furnace requires a torch flower? Torch flower. I don't even know what that is. Is that a thing? It is. What the heck is this? Torch flower. Oh, this is the freaking sniffer thingamajig, ain't it? Oh! How do you get these? Torch flower seeds are dropped by sniffers. Ah, I genuinely forgot that this was in the game. That'd be cool. I think it'd also be kind of cool to make these maybe grow in the nether or something. But no, this is cool. I like this. Using more flammable stuff to, why can't I think? Using it to make like nether stuff. That'd be cool. Let's see. And that was, yep, 1.20. Okay. God, what did they add in 1.20? So you need a sniffer to get the nether furnace. I didn't even think about the sniffer. God, that update, Trails and Tales, yeah. This is just a strange update. But no, this is, should look at this more. Because you gotta remember that also, like, the final version of the paint pack as it currently stands was made for, I don't even remember what version of Minecraft. But it's, since then, Bedrock has been updated, and a lot of the stuff that is in there doesn't work anymore, which sucks. Really, really sucks. Which is one of the reasons why I'm porting this to Java. Also because I just like Java, I think it's better. That's a whole nother discussion. Yeah, no, using here. No. Also, get that tacked on there. So yeah, that's kind of the idea of essences. Like, I don't know if any of that made sense. Like I said, it's stuff that I added for one thing, and I got rid of that one thing, the totems, but I still kind of want to keep them. But what if smithing templates are required to craft armor or something of the sorts? That is another thing that we could definitely do, is use more smithing templates. I just don't really know how I would add that. In my opinion, like the netherite smithing template, I feel kind of iffy about that in general. But I think it could be interesting as like a way to upgrade other sets of armor. So yeah, I'm glad you could parse anything from that, from my essences explanation. But almost, we could probably do some kind of smithing template thing for the Inferno sword, right here, potentially for the Deity's Blade, because I was having trouble figuring out how to get this to work in progression. Make it so that you don't get the Inferno and then immediately jump to the Deity's Blade without using the Inferno at all. Because right now, with its current recipe, the Deity's Blade is stupid easy to make. You just need the Inferno, this much earlier sword, the Frostbite, and then an Essence of Life. That's how you make it. That's it. So you get the Inferno and then like immediately combine it. I don't know. That's something that I want to change. That's... Oh my god, my head hurts. But besides the Deep Slash, in terms of weapons that I have implemented now, we only have one more in progression. These are basically just dev items that do a ridiculous amount of damage because it's funny. But the Teufel is the final one here. So the Teufel, which is made using Demonite, so this is probably your post-Wither sword. And I think bumping its damage super high is fine, because there really isn't much of anything after this. It's kind of like the zenith of this paint, the mod pack. What is its durability in my current version anyways? It's clever. I don't even care anymore. I still think lifesteal on this one would be fine, but this one needs more, in my opinion. So yeah, I think I'll just do lifesteal. Lifesteal plus other stuff. My creativity has gone out the window. But in terms of like currently existing items, that is, yeah, Toyful is the final weapon is real nice. Yep. Of course, it's the name of the pack. It's literally Satan. I have to make it the final weapon. So this is kind of. I just realized I forgot a vanilla weapon. I forgot the netherite. I'm stupid. I don't even know where to slot this in. I'm gonna put it before the Inferno. I think maybe just a little bit more than the Piglin War Axe, because the Piglin War Axe is, you can't craft it. It's only dropped by Piglins, and they're the ones that use it. I don't even know if this one's current or previous, so not so weird. I can't spell. What is it? 2. Okay. Yeah, we'll do like 2,500 or something. Which doesn't really have anything special, but and then I'll come with some flavor text for it later. But I think that's fine, just so it kind of sits there with these kind of early, quote-unquote, early nether weapons. What if the Inferno itself requires netherite? That's not a bad idea, actually. Because right now, there isn't really an incentive to get netherite. I'm debating on whether you need netherite or just netherite scraps. Because, well... I'll note down that it should use netherite in the recipe. But I'm not gonna fully decide. And maybe we could just make it so that it requires the netherite sword. I don't know. But I still want to keep the netherite sword as an option. So I'll keep it there. I might on it. No, I think this is fine for now. So a lot of talking later, about 2 hours of talking later, and we have at least version 1 of this kind of progression here. So just to walk through, make sure that this makes sense in my head. You start out with the Fistful of Dirt, obviously. I mean, come on, that's the best weapon in the game. Literally just made out of dirt, so you get some kind of extra damage on top of just punching with your fist. Then you kind of actually start making weapons. You can either choose the Flint Dagger, which you can use to kind of like a cheap flint and steel to start fires, but of course that uses durability. Or you can get the Pointy Stick, which is a stick that's pointy. Maybe make the Inferno on a smithing table using a netherite sword, an Inferno smithing table, or some other item. Okay. Or, kind of expanding on that, because I know that I want to keep the Inferno using a fire essence. An essence of fire is one of its items that you need. We could potentially just make it so that... well, no, because you only get 2 slots here. I was thinking you could probably make an Inferno smithing template, or like a Hellfire smithing template, using Hellfire, which is a thing. So like using the Hellfire ingot, or Hellfire chunk, or whatever. Making a smithing template out of that, so you can make the template. And then combining it with a netherite sword and maybe another fire essence. Maybe. So Hellfire smithing template, netherite sword, fire essence equals Inferno. That kind of... Let me just, before I forget, let me get this added here. Let's just pop this bad boy at the top. because it's not just we're just talking about melee weapons right now, but there's also, I want to add ranged weapons. The original version of the pack didn't have any ranged weapons, just because of the way that Bedrock packs are. For me anyways, I couldn't figure out how to get one added. But I want to add ranged weapons. And there's already armor. We're going to add armor. And that's another part of progression that we need to figure out. And then the next thing, now that I've kind of gotten a weapons progression figured out, the next thing I want to do is figure out the actual enemies that you fight. I did this before for, as you can see, this was for the 4th version of the Pain Pack. As you can see, very, very... Ugh. But this is kind of what I had going. So you have your regular livestock are kind of the easiest things to deal with. And then some of your rare kind of overworld mobs, rare-ish ones, some more specialized stuff, yada yada yada, and then you get your regular hostile mobs is a bit more difficult. Look at that handwriting. Stuff like this, and then you get to your nether stuff, and then your kind of end stuff, deep dark, wither. So this is the next thing that I kind of want to figure out, and then I think once I get these two figured out, we can probably move on to armor. I think do armor progression, then maybe do some ranged weapons, kind of brainstorm ideas for ranged weapons, and then kind of go through and do a second pass on everything, and just see how well, you know, everything kind of fits together. And then probably start implementing some of it, because I have it open, but I really don't think I'm going to be implementing anything today. We're probably going to be ending the stream here in a little bit, to be honest, because I've been talking for ages, and everything hurts. But I think for now, I think this is fine for weapon progression. And then, of course, I can also go back through. I need to put meat on the bones or something. Could. I don't even know. Now that I think about it, I don't actually know if you can tame wolves in the current version of the pack. I might have just gotten rid of that. Let me see. Wolf baby, wolf adult, wolf angry, wolf wild, wolf tame. Okay, so yes, you can. Oh, Jesus. Right, yes. So you can tame wolves. And the other thing you gotta remember about previous changes that were made to the pack is that I really wasn't expecting to, like, release this and make it, like, available to everyone else. So I was more so building this for, like, the 5 or so people that were playing it. But now I'm starting to think more of incorporating a bunch of that stuff into the game. Like, maybe someone would want to tame a wolf for whatever reason. So I think it is hilarious that the tamed wolf has 300 health. I don't know if I'm going to keep that in this new version, but I do like the idea of making them more difficult to tame. I mean, they already are kind of more difficult because they're trying to kill you, and they're pretty damn strong, if I remember correctly. Like, where were they on this list here? I don't actually... Do I even have them written? I do, yeah. So they're decently low here, but you also got to remember that cows have like 20 health. So this is pretty damn hard. But I think also having some other thing to tame them could be interesting, like putting meat on the bones. That could be cool. So, as with everything, you must use a peace essence on it first. Yes. You know, that was the idea that I had from the start. Absolutely no doubts in my mind. That was the reason. But yes, you definitely will have to use a piece essence on it first. God, I'm so glad to tell the story. Like in Bedrock Edition, right? To change vanilla stuff, you go to like Minecraft's website or whatever, and you go, they changed it to creator now, but back in my day it used to be called add-ons. You scroll down here and you click on, I don't remember which one it is. It's probably this one. You click on this. Don't sarcasm me. Ah, well. But no, that is genius, and I will forever love you for that. We're going to scroll all the way down here because they provide a sample behavior pack at the bottom of this tutorial. And the mods will strike if you continue with the sarcasm. That's like 50% of my brand. I don't know what to tell you. But no, I'll be completely honest for the rest of my life. I will never tell a lie or sarcasm of any regard. But I thought it was this anyways. Which one is it? Yes, Vanilla Behavior Pack. It's right here. You go into here, and you get access to a Vanilla Behavior Pack, which has, like, quote, all of the JSON files for all the different, like, mobs and items in the game, and you can just mess with them. And so that makes it really easy to just change vanilla behavior, because it's in a super easy to like read and modify format. It's in JSON. And it's just, you literally just like copy some JSON from somewhere else, change a couple values, and boom, you've changed a vanilla entity. But if you want to add custom stuff to Bedrock, it gets a little more tricky. And sometimes it's not even supported all that well. But with Java, it's stupid easy to add new stuff. You just create a new Java class, and if you know how Java works, and you have like a, you have the project set up or whatever, boom, bada bing, bada boom, it's in the game. Don't you worry about it. But you want to modify vanilla stuff, and you got to start using these things called mix-ins. And mix-ins are hell on earth. Because you have to deal with the way that it was originally implemented. And Minecraft is a game that's like 15 years old at this point. And so you're dealing with potentially 15-year-old code that you have to tap into. Make sure you tap into it the right way. And then, like, edit things the right way. So, getting the entity to attack you, like a cow to attack you, was relatively simple. It only took me like a couple days to figure out how to do it. Of course, I wasn't doing it 24 hours per day, but still, it took me a couple days to do it. But getting it so that it would switch back and forth sounds yucky and not fun to work with? Yes. That is a great way to summarize it. To get that like piece essence, pain essence thing to work was, oh my god, it was genuinely so much pain, and it just, sometimes it would half work and I didn't know why, but it, finally I got it to work. But like if I scroll through like my commits on GitHub here, so you can track my progress. And we start here on January 29th of 2026. I started on the pacification, so like using the peace essence. And like if I scroll through here, you'll see it goes through like this is a fairly regular message, but then my third commit is I gave up. I gave up. And then I go to a second-ish attempt at allowing cow behavior changes, to which I was so done that I had to go to Reddit, and I had to ask the good people of Reddit to try and help me figure this one out. No one helped. Literally no one helped. I left those posts for, like, weeks, and no one came to save me. And then finally, on the 2nd of February, I thought I got it figured out. And then it didn't work. Something broke, and it didn't work. And so I had to desperately try to debug the cow AI switching, and I failed miserably. And then I continued working on it. And then it gets to the 7th of February, and it still doesn't work. Still doesn't work. You could turn the cow passive, but if you turned it hostile, it would throw a bunch of errors at me a couple times, and then it started working. So, still not a clue. Trying a bunch of other ideas, and then finally on the 13th, I hit the eureka moment. I finally figured it out. To which I literally just called the commit Eureka. I didn't provide any context as to what I changed. I just said Eureka. So it took a month. It took a month to get this cow to just to change, man. So yeah, long story short, this has been a pretty fun process. Pretty interesting, pretty cool. And that's just the cow, because the cow is pretty easy to change. You know, it's pretty simple. Tap into this little thing right here and change the kinds of goals that it has as a cow, and just make one of its goals to try and kill me. But it gets more complicated when you get to more complicated mobs, especially mobs that were added more recently, because those were developed by the guys at Mojang and not just Notch in his basement or whatever in Sweden. Yeah, no, it was literally a eureka moment. Like, I genuinely felt like I had unlocked the pearly gates. I thought I had somehow cured cancer. Sorry, I had to take a second. And so, messing with these older mobs, these more simple mobs, is super easy. But then I try and mess with something like, say, the axolotl, and the axolotl is freaking... I don't even know what the axolotl's problem is, but it's got some, weird stuff going on that I don't understand. It's got a brain that I have to mess with. I don't even know what that means. But, I go into axolotl, and it's look at all this bullcrap that doesn't make any sense. What the... I can't just change its goals. I have to tap into its brain. Why do I have to tap into its brain? Why does it have a brain? It's a freaking Minecraft mob. Just tell it to go somewhere, man. It doesn't need all this stupid... So anyways, that's something I'm not looking forward to later. But that's a problem for later me. And hopefully not on stream me, so then, all of my pain and agony isn't documented for everyone to see. But, So, long story short, if you want to make a Minecraft mod, Poppy Playtime on shit with the axolotl. It is! It is! You have to, dissect it and freaking comb through its organelles. I wouldn't be surprised if they simulate its lungs in the freaking code or whatever. But it's just who was drunk when they were developing this, man? I've made a whole one game, and I did not have to add a freaking brain, okay? I didn't have to model a brain. It has memory. Why does it have that? But, like I said, it's a problem for later me. We'll get there when we get there. So. And this is why I don't stream me, programming or anything of that sort. Because I just go insane. I feel like I'm clinically insane right now. Sure, I get a little crazy if I'm doing some of the gameplay streams or whatever. But this is absurd. I feel like I haven't had enough to drink, and the liquor store is closed. What were we talking about? Freaking... Yeah, armor. Or mobs. Yeah. So, let's do that. Another thing that I should probably describe that I was kind of toying with earlier is this idea of item classes, where to kind of give more depth, quote unquote, to these weapons instead of just, get this one next because it does more damage, is to have this idea of classes. These are the two classes that I have so far. The idea that I have is just, do you want to prioritize attack damage, or do you want to prioritize attack speed or player speed, or something of that nature? Should blazes still take damage from snowballs? Probably not. Is that something I changed? Sorry, altered. Is that something I altered? I don't actually know. At the very least, it wasn't something we ever tried when we were playing. But let me see if it does still. Let's see. It's a little damaged. If a player wants to bring new snowballs to progress slower, I'd actually say fuck it. Yeah, honestly, I can agree with that. I'm just curious to see. I don't actually know where that would be in this. In here. Either way, I think I'll just keep it because, like I said, or like you said, it'd be funny to just let the player just freaking projectile vomit snowballs. It's supposed to be hard. You gotta think like a masochist if you want to make something like this. All of these packs have just been me like making the game stupidly difficult and then slowly making it a bit easier with every single like step. But yeah, so I think yeah, keeping snowballs is fine. And that's another thing I want to add is something I wanted to add in the Bedrock version, but I couldn't, was pocket sand. I want to add pocket sand because I don't remember who suggested that, but I thought it was funny. So I have a texture for pocket sand somewhere, but I don't have it added. So that's another thing that I want to do now that I'm in Java land, is add pocket sand. It's so tiny. Make blaze spawners flammable. I see what you're thinking. Yeah, we're totally adding pocket sand. Blaze spawners flammable. Maybe? Or maybe just make it so that they only produce so many blazes. Or like after a while they just explode or something. I don't know. It's just like you're trying to farm blazes and then the spawner just explodes. Oh my god, that would be funny, actually. Or like, if you kill enough blazes, the like Blaze King spawns or something stupid like that. Oh god. But I suppose I should probably just start writing down mobs. I'll at least write down mobs for a little bit, but like I said, I need to end this stream at some point. Makes it explodes when you get too close. Let's make blaze spawners explode. I don't think I need to provide any more context. I think you have to wait for the blazes to approach you. Honestly, that's not a bad idea. Also, just so you can't like completely camp it. I would have to think about how to implement that, but I like the idea. Another thing to note, because I'm just assuming you haven't been watching the stream, because why would you? You're watching this one, like the previous Pain Pack stream. I mean, is that blazes in the current edition of the Pain Pack have this funny little thing where instead of shooting like boom 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 like 3 fireballs, they shoot about 15 at about machine gun speed. So you really can't get close to them anyways. And if you do, you better have a shield, and you better have a couple shields, because they are going to eat through that shield. But yeah, so like that's kind of what blazes do now, and I think that's funny, having blazes just machine gun, just straight. It's like walking into Detroit, you know. But mobs. So here we go. I think if I open this really fast, livestock and other normal wildlife. So let me get a list of like all the different mobs. Okay, mob. Sorry, machine gun is awesome. Yeah, it is amazing. It is so fun to just watch them get gunned down. Oh god. But let me see. A mob, short for mobile entity or mobile object. Why is it called that? I don't think I've ever like played a video game where the enemies are called mobs except for Minecraft. Like genuinely. But if we pop in here and we see, okay, so these don't count. Elder Guardian Ghost. Oh, that's what gets used. Interesting. Whether skeletons can crawl under 2 blocks. I actually think that's something I already do. That might actually be something I do. Now you're thinking like a pain pack creator, because I think that's actually already implemented. But let me double check. But that is funny as hell. Let me see. What is their hitbox? Height? Oh no, it is still just barely. Oh, but they can still go under slabs. But they have 65 health. Oh god, I don't actually remember what wither skeletons do besides run faster and hurt you more. That's what a lot of this boils down to. Scroll. But yeah, another thing about a lot of these mobs is that some of the more difficult ones, a big differentiator is that they don't have to see you to target you. Like, wither skeletons do, but I think one that doesn't. Do blazes need to? They scroll. Ah, they do. Which one didn't have to see you? Maybe zombies. I don't remember. But I know that there were a couple of mobs that could just attack you even though they couldn't see you. At a ducking animation or something. So, oh my god, that would be awesome actually! What the hell? Oh, yes. Okay. And the whole idea of scaring the crap out of people, that reminds me of another thing that I want to mention that I've had this entire time that I just haven't pulled up. This idea that I have. This is a completely new idea for this version of the paint pack that I haven't that I've really only talked about a little bit. Let me show it really fast. It's this thing. I'm calling it the Lost Miner. Like, they stand there for a few seconds and then duck. Oh my god. Wait, that's genius. I'm going to scare the hell out of you. That would be awesome. But, anyways. So, Lost Miner. This is an idea that I had for the paint pack. Where... I have no idea why this was an idea that I had, but it was an idea that I have. Yeah, hey, Steve. Where if you're mining, right, you're underground, and, like, you will randomly hear, like, a human voice calling out for help, right? And if you go towards the sound, you will eventually stumble across this guy. But if you get too close to this guy, he will... let me pull this up really fast if I can. See if I can actually... Can I open this? Why is the model... It does that. Where if you get too close to him, it will divide in half. And I want to model some kind of eldritch demon that crawls out of it and just runs at you. And that's the idea that I have. So that if you try and go underground, Ignore the cries for help. So this is the idea. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really animate, so that's the best I got so far. But I just think hearing like a human voice underground shouting for help, and then you see, it doesn't have to be Steve, we can always change the texture, but just see someone standing there, and then they try and come towards you, and then if they get too close or you get too close, they divide in half, and like a freaking creature crawls out of them or whatever and sprints at you. I think that would be, at least for the first time you see it, I think that would be awesome. So this is the idea of the Lost Miner. To add to the scare factor, along with a wither skeleton ducking under. Yeah. So, I don't know. I thought it'd be cool. But, anyways, mobs, yes. Things that we need to do. So, passive mobs. Kind of pulling this up really fast and just using it as a reference. We have livestock and other normal. Let's just keep this on the screen. I don't care. So livestock, cows, pigs, foxes, cats. This is kind of the general idea of progression. So I'm gonna kind of stick to it for now. When did they add the copper golem again? Is that something I have to deal with right now? So if it isn't, then I'm not going to. Okay, that was a 1.21 thing. Never mind, I don't care. Let's see. Cows, yes. Cow. Get a cow added. I just realized how terrifying the mushroom's eyes are. Like, look at that thing. With the Essentials mod, but basically let you add friends and play with them for free. What if the skin 10 times can fetch a player's friends list if applicable? Ooh. Ooh. A mimic. Oh, yes. Oh, that would be cool. Your friend who doesn't even have the mod pack installed. Oh my god, that would be... Wait, that's... And I didn't even think about that. If I could tap into... I wonder if you can through the Essentials mod. I would have to look at it, see if there's any kind of like API that you can use. Oh, that's awesome! It's getting added to the list. Oh my god. Lost Miner. If Essentials mod installed. Pulls texture from friends list. Oh my god, that's amazing. The idea of a mimic. Not that this is really trying to be a horror mod, but god, that's so cool. Yeah, that's going on the list. I don't know how this pack is never gonna get done. The amount of crap that I've had, but god, such good ideas. This is why I stream these. Forget what I said earlier. This is why I stream these. It's because you guys have so much better ideas than I do. But so many people use the mod. It's quite popular. I see a lot of famous YouTubers who use it. I know. And I mean, on top of that, also, hello, Electronical. We're making hell in Minecraft, just a preface. But I mean, that would also be useful for just like, you know, joining other people's worlds. You wouldn't have to set up a server or anything. And so having it pull from that list. Oh, good idea. I love it. I love everything about it. God, yes. Okay. Woo. It only took 2.5 hours, but I'm getting excited for once. Let's go, baby. Okay, like I said, I'm going to end this stream in a little bit just because we have been going for 2.5 hours. And there are some other things that I said I was going to do today. Hell, sounds yummy. My favorite. Oh, God. Indeed. So, yeah, Electronical. Like, you just got here, so none of this is going to make any sense. Just before I forget, let me go link those other streams really fast so you can see kind of Spanish project. So you can see the current version of the Pain Pack as it stands on Bedrock Edition. So let me go ahead and get this. How do you do this now? Where do you do that at? They changed around YouTube Studio and it bugs me. Pain Pack play, or just as good as a steak dinner. That's right, baby. So yeah, let me get this added. So if you want to go watch this stream where me and some friends who've played this older versions of this pack before, I stream tomorrow, I'll be there. I don't know if I'll stream tomorrow. I guess we could. I have time. Why the hell not? We're already on a roll with these great ideas. But I also still need to like play more of Poppy Playtime. Post was already finished watching the VOD. I thought I'd have more time before he finished it, but nope, he already finished it, so I gotta get back on that. Anyways, I'm getting off track again. But ideas for next stream, just in general, is for one, if literally anyone, you DM that to me, look the stream link, that I can do. Let me get that over to you really fast. Like, if anyone has any ideas for the Pain Pack, you can just send them to me. Send them in, like, freaking... Go to the Discord and send them. It's easy to find, just want to remember to watch it. Fair enough. And there is another stream of us playing it as well. There's 2 streams. I think they both have the word pain in the title, so they should be pretty easy to find. But they're decently old, so you have to scroll back quite a ways. But yeah, so if literally anyone has any ideas to make this mod for Minecraft as stupidly difficult as possible, let me know, and it'll probably go on the list. Because I will take anything. As you can see, this stream has been excellent for brainstorming ideas, and I like where this is going a lot. I am very excited for this. More so than I've been probably for any of these. But just because, like I said, I have some other people that would like to talk to me. Make chicken texture a chicken texture. That's going on the list right there. I'm going to add that verbatim. There we go. This is like high priority stuff right here. Idea. Genius. But yeah, so to kind of end this off, sorry Electronical that you shut up right as I'm ending this. But like I said, if you have any ideas, leave them in the Discord. You can find it below, or just send it to me. However, if you come up with something, write it down, man. This is like a group project at this point. If you want to see a playthrough of the Pain Pack, there's a link in the description. If you want to play old versions of it for Bedrock, there's links to it in the description as well. If you want to see the source code for this current version that I'm working on, that's also in the description. If you want to read any of this, I don't blame you if you don't. Yeah, I think for now, this has been an excellent brainstorming session. And honestly, I might also share this document. So that's an idea for later, but I might share this document so people can add comments and whatnot. We can make this a real group project. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. This has probably been the most productive coding stream I've ever done at a 1 in 5. Oh my god. Yeah, this code isn't that bad. It's just defining stuff, but it's pretty dense. But if you want to look through it, link in the description. Withered Foxy jump scare is totally going on there. I love that. God, I love that Terraria mod. So that's totally going on there. It's like an item that you can like activate. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and edit there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Links in the description. Subscribe, like. You've been on YouTube before, you know all the buttons. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. And the awkward moment. Except now you can actually see my screen, so it's even more awkward that I have to go and click end stream now. I don't know. Like 1 in 50,000. Yeah, I'm getting there, Aiden. When you break a block. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Bye-bye. See you guys.